I moved in my junior year to finish school in New
really?
York. But if it wasn't for that, I would have never went on tour with Beyonce in my senior year of high school.
That's so crazy.
You know? It's crazy, right? So it's like,
shout out to your family.
I know. So they were like, okay, we've showed you that we support you. So you decide what you want to do.
That's why it's okay to listen to your parents.
It is.
Young,
you know what? You have
sometimes.
to. You have to. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
They know what's best.
They always
That's crazy.
do.
So you moved to New York by yourself, or
my mom went with me. My dad and my brother were still in Chico, and we were like being raised separately, but my parents were still happily married. We were just on opposite coasts for my career, and
that's crazy.
Everybody, it's crazy, right?
So right away you get there, you enroll into like a high school.
A private school.
And
which I didn't even want to go to either. My parents were like, no, you're going. And it was not a cheap school or free or anything, but they were like, you're going to this one because it's the best one so you can have opportunity. And they were right again.
Was it like dance focus?
No, it's called Professional Children's School.
Okay.
So it's a school from elementary to high school. And these kids can be on soap operas. Some of them are like Olympic ice skaters. They're in ballet companies. They're on Broadway. They're, they're working professional children.
Right.
So it supported the working kids, basically. So kids would not be at school for months, and then you see them and you're like, oh, you still go here? And they're like, oh yeah, I was shooting a TV show in Wisconsin or whatever. And then and that was me. That's why I was able to go on tour, and I came back and they're like, oh, you still go here? I'm like, yeah, I went on tour.
Damn.
When I came back, we would have gaps in between, the European leg and the US leg or whatever. You have weeks. That's when I would catch up on my school, turn it in. At that point when we moved, I had been traveling every summer to train at the summer programs.
Right.
So I was kind of used to New York, but I had never lived in the winters and all that. So that was definitely a wake up call.
Right.
I'm like, oh, we don't wear short little crop top jackets out here. Got it.
Freezing.
It's freezing. But New York City it's a huge adjustment from even just LA,
right. You start doing some type of theater type play stuff first. Was that some of your first jobs?
I was training at Alvin Ailey, so I was doing a lot of ballet and modern at the time, and I think my focus was I was thinking I was gonna be in the company. They have a first company and a second company, so I thought the second company was gonna recruit me, and then I was gonna eventually make it to the first company, and I would have been an Alvin Ailey dancer for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah,
that was what I thought my path was doing. Yeah. I didn't have an agent or anything, so I wasn't going on auditions, a lot of auditions for artists and stuff like that. The Beyonce one was an open call. I think that was the last time she had an open call.
Damn.
And I went to that, and I can't believe I even booked it from that. I don't know if I was one of the only ones from an open call, but she had open calls everywhere. It was in New York and Atlanta, I think, and LA.
How many people go to that? How many people were? Thousands?
Oh yeah, I stood in line for 3 hours in New York in November. It was freezing.
Holy shit. What album did she have out at this time?
This was...
Because this was for you were booking for the tour or for a music video?
It was for videos. So it was for the B-Day album.
Okay.
And she shot 10 videos in 12 days or something like that, or 2 weeks or something. And I did 2 videos out of that series. And that was the start of her visual albums, and then that turned into tour rehearsals.
So what's it like getting the music video gig first? This, obviously, I'm assuming you looked up to her as an artist.
Yeah, for sure.
So then you booking her, first going through the auditions, it's you're battling out against thousands and thousands of people. What do you think it was about you that they saw?
Well, I definitely have to give Frank Gatson credit, because he is the one who discovered me and gave me a chance and opportunity. But Frank definitely has a talent of seeing like a star in somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he saw like the little light in me that like was shining. And I believe that I have like a little star quality in me and like, you know, a natural talent, obviously. But I was very young. And so for him to see that in me so young and so green, you know, like, and not knowing how to even like bring it out. Like now I can tap in and just be like, boom, there she is, and da da da, or turn it off. But like then I was just so young, and I think he just saw the hunger in me. I don't know.
And who was Frank at the time?
Frank was Beyonce's choreographer at the time. Yeah, and like creative director and stuff. I was living in New York at the time, and I flew in to LA to shoot, and there were a bunch of us flying from New York to shoot out here, and I think Atlanta people too. It was like it was a lot. It was a huge thing in the dance community out here apparently too. But I was so new. I barely knew anybody. I was like just young and like, I'm just happy to be here.
Right.
She actually lived in New York at the time too. So they were rehearsing for tour, getting ready to prep for tour. And so all that was happening in New York also. So yeah, I think that's when it turned into like, come to these rehearsals. But I still didn't even know like if I had the job or not, because I would go to rehearsals and we would rehearse for like weeks or whatever for this tour, and then like the next day like 3 people would be gone and 3 new people would be back in. I'd be like, oh, people are getting chopped like that, like just replaced like left and right. So I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I'm just here, just gonna do my job or do what's asked of me.
God damn. So were you?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's nuts. Were you did you find like representation at that point, or is this just like Frank found you the first time, you happened to go and just got in touch with you directly with your like mom probably?
Yeah, well at this point, yeah, my mom was, I guess, like kind of talking with him or whatever, but then he suggested an agent, and so I went with that agent because I didn't know what else to do, I think.
It was helpful?
His agent at the time too.
Really?
So it was like, you know, scratching his own agent's back, getting more money for his agent, you know, at the end of the day.
Right.
And whatever, he put me on, so I didn't think anything of it. Plus I'm so new, I don't even know like my other options. But eventually I ended up signing with a different agency. Right. That was in New York because that one was in LA. I think I was just like working really hard, you know. I've always been very much a hard worker, like, because I would train as much as I would go to school or whatever, you know. Yeah. So that is what I do know how to do, is work hard. Right. And so I think they all just saw that and appreciated it, and I didn't really have a lot to complain about or anything to say really. So, you know, I was the youngest, of course, but I fit in with everybody. Was pretty young at the time. I think like maybe the oldest was like 26, you know, so it wasn't, or maybe like 20, 27, 28 maybe, but like everybody was in their 20s and whatever. So I fit in pretty well. Like we had a great time that tour. It was really fun, and you know, that was like before she was married, before she had any kids or anything too. So she was much younger, and yeah, we just were having fun that tour.
When did you get the like final, you're going on the tour? When did that happen? Yeah. Or not when, but like what was that moment like, and how did you find out?
Yeah, I guess like when we really got like down to like production rehearsals and things like weren't changing. But it was so crazy because even one of the guys like didn't know if he was going on the tour or not, and we were in production rehearsals. So it was like he was like dancing to prove that he deserved to be on tour. It was crazy. So I don't know. I guess like when I was packing my bags and flying away, which is like
yeah, that's how it always is. I feel
still like that. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Hey guys, thank you for checking out this highlight. I just wanted to let you know that the entire episode is available. Just click the link in the description below. We're also available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify and pretty much every other platform you could ever think of that has podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to this channel though, because we drop new videos every single week. They're all flame. Trust me, if you're a creator, you're gonna want to subscribe to us. All right, we'll see you guys soon.